Once a signal has been added to the designer grid and you have also created a station that represents the same area that the signal will operate in, you can then define the signal's properties. By clicking on any signal, you will see the Signal Properties window appear. Signals have a few properties, the first of which is the station it operates in. The second property is the signal name. All signal names must end with their cardinal directional letter, north, south, east, or west, and the letter G. Also, any signal may be preceded by any whole number if there are multiple signals at a station. Do not put switch position indicators in the signal name. The signal's behavior, according to the current alignment of switches inside a station, will be defined later when we discuss indication signal rules. The third property is the signal block linkage. For most standard layouts, this value will never be set. The only time it should be used is to manually link a signal to a block that was not placed on the right-handed side of the start of the block that it would govern movement for. The fourth property is to indicate whether or not the signal is an intermediate. Most signals in a layout are absolute signals, meaning they decide what route gets cleared. Intermediate signals do not line routes, but only display signal indications. Setting this value to yes will not paint the route beyond the signal when conditions are present for cleared movement. This setting is mostly only useful for creating non-automatic block signals. The fifth property is the control clearance expression. This is the expression that gets evaluated when a control packet is received to determine whether or not the signal is being instructed to align a route. The final property is a list of all the possible signal aspects a signal can give. For veteran ATCS monitor users, the signals only ever light up red or green. However, Tremon 5 lets you take that a step further and define all the possible aspects a signal can show based upon the cleared route and track conditions. In keeping with design simplicity for veteran ATCS monitor layout authors, when a new signal is created, there are two base signal indication rules. The first is the default stop signal aspect that the signal shows when no route is cleared. By default, these are all set to red, but some railroads actually display no signal when a route is not lined. This will allow you to adjust the stop signal display accordingly. The first signal rule after the stop signal aspect rule defaults to a bottom or dwarf aspect of green. This is so that veteran ATCS monitor layout authors can quickly prototype a layout using the dwarf signal aspects. All that is needed to complete this setup is a signal expression to determine when the signal should light up. The description field at the bottom of each signal rule is optional and only serves as a note to the layout editor what the signal rule represents. You can add more signal rules as needed, but this is entirely up to you. If you do, remember to put the most restrictive signal aspects first and your most permissive ones last. This is because the signal rules are evaluated from top to bottom when packets are received, and when the first signal rule that evaluates to true has occurred, further signal processing stops. Once you have defined all of your properties and indication rules for the signal. Click the Save button and it will save the properties for the signal you clicked on.